All right, now it's time to welcome in a very, very special guest. My boy, Super Bowl 50 champion, Super Bowl 50 MVP, my fam, the one and only Von Miller. What's up, man?
How's it going, guys? Todd Davis, Ryan, Zach, man. Got the crew in here, man. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Oh, right back. I mean, we can't appreciate you enough for joining us today. It's awesome to talk to you, Von.
It's been good, man. So, the Broncos, it wasn't easy for them to make it to the playoffs. It's kind of been up and down the last couple of weeks. You didn't know if you were going to play the Bengals in the first round, the Dolphins, because you guys kind of had that second seed locked up. When you did find out it was going to be the Broncos, what was your first initial reaction?
So I'm still a Bronco fan, in my heart. So been paying attention to the team, paid attention to the team last year, and I've seen all the improvements. And I knew that they were going to make the playoffs. I knew they were going to make the playoffs. I think I realized that the Broncos had a really good team. I think it was the Thursday night game that I watched, and they went down there. No, they were supposed to beat the Saints, but it was the way that they beat the Saints. Mm-hmm. It was like they dominated them. It wasn't like a trick play here, a trick play there. They dominated them, and that's when I knew. I was like, okay, yeah, this team is really good. And then watching them down the stretch, that Cincinnati game too. That was another game that I feel like they should have won, and they played really, really well in that one. And they made some big time plays. That played Marvin Mims at the end of the game on, I think it was 4th and 12. You gotta have balls to even think of doing that. And that's when I knew okay, they're gonna make the playoffs. They might not make the playoffs today, but they're gonna make the playoffs. And I didn't think that we were gonna have to play them. I just thought they were gonna be in the playoffs. It wasn't until these last 2 weeks where it's man, if they made the playoffs, then we got to play the Broncos. And I kind of had time to think about it, and the NFL is just so crazy. And if you play football in the National Football League for 14 years, you're gonna be in these type of situations.
Yep.
So instead of me saying man, I don't want to play the Broncos, I love the Broncos, I just embrace it. This is what the universe and God has put before me. And I just embrace it, and it's a cool moment. I'm a fan of this team and everybody over there, from the front office guys, George Payton, and the new ownership that we have with Condoleezza Rice, and all of these guys. All of these, it's my type of team, and of course I played there, and I'm a fan of the Denver Broncos, and they always have a place in my heart. I knew they were going to make the playoffs. I just didn't think that we were going to have to play them, but. This is just what the universe put before us, and I'm excited about it. It'd be cool.
Von, if we were to end this conversation right now, you have already made every Broncos fan's week, day, maybe even year with everything you just said there, and including current Broncos. I talked to Garrett Bowles in the locker room right after he clinched his first playoff trip this past Sunday and asked him, what's it going to be like going up against your guy, Von Miller? And the first thing he said with a huge smile on his face was, I bet there's no one happier outside of this locker room about us making the playoffs than Von, because he's such a big fan of us still. And, You refer to the Broncos as us and we. He refers to you as still a Bronco. And my question to you with all of this is just when players move on, they typically don't say we about their team in the past. Why have you embraced this team so much? And because I just think current fans look and say, it's the coolest freaking thing ever.
I think first and foremost for me, that's just who I am. That's wherever I come from. I can't forget it, whether that's DeSoto High School, me playing football at DeSoto, or Texas A&M, or the Denver Broncos. This is part of who I am, and I couldn't forget it. And I think really the most important thing for me that keeps me connected to Denver is Broncos Country. The fans that we have there in Denver are amazing, and I've been around to the Rams. They have great fans here, and Bills Mafia is great as well. But I was drafted to the Denver Broncos. We had ups and downs, and spent 10 years of my life there. My kids were born there in Denver at the same hospital, in the same hospital room with the same doctor. I had a house there that I stayed in for 9 years, and we won a Super Bowl, and we went to another Super Bowl, and Peyton Manning and Tim Tebow and DT. These are all these are all things. DeMarcus Ware, these are all things in my life that you just can't ever forget. As a matter of fact, I lean on these things in my present day. Like I lean on the fact that I went to the Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. I played with Peyton Manning. DeMarcus Ware was my mentor. I lean on these certain aspects of my life to be the best leader that I can be today. So you can't forget any of those things. Broncos Country, there are no fans like Broncos Country, and they just keep me tied and locked in, and they keep my heart, beating and loving Denver. And then you got the Denver Nuggets too, and I was going to the games when they were sorry. I was sitting courtside at the game. Yep. I was sitting at the game courtside when they were sorry, before the Joker. Like, I'm talking about way back when we made the playoffs the last time with Ty Lawson. Like I was going to games way back then in 2012. Like I'm all Denver. It's you can't erase it. And for me I told the media this the other day. Like for me to even buy into the delusion, like, I hate the Denver Broncos, this and that. That would be detrimental to the type of football that I want to play. And that's just not even my personality. I got love for the Denver Broncos. Like I love the Denver Broncos. It's just those small 3 to 4 second, 5 second bursts in the game that I have to go out there and do what I have to do. And that's just how it is. And I want to win the game. I want to win the game. I want to go out there and play well. I want to do all of these things. But when I'm not biting on my mouthpiece, and I'm not after the whistle to snap, like it's all love and respect. And not only for like the Broncos that I played with, like I've been playing football a long time. Like I know all of these guys. I know of all of these guys. Like McGlinchey, I played against McGlinchey when he was with the San Francisco 49ers. Like I've always thought he was a great right tackle. And you pair him up with Gary Bowes and Quinn Miners. I was on the team when we drafted him, and they showed his the way he was working out with logs and outdoors. Like I witnessed all of this stuff. Like you can't forget any of these things. So, it's just it just is what it is, man. And instead of me trying to label it, I just embrace it. It's a cool moment. It's a cool moment in time that I appreciate.
Vaughn, on that same kind of line of thinking, I probably listened to your answer that you gave to the media there in Buffalo like 3 times. You know me, I'm a lifelong Broncos fan, so I think I speak for all of Broncos country when I say hearing you say that stuff means a lot. My question on that is, why do you feel comfortable saying that? Like I feel like you've been the face of a franchise here in Denver. Like all the media stuff. Like I'm sure if Patrick Smythe was in your ear, he probably would have said hey, don't talk about how much you love the Broncos. Like I feel like you going out and saying that says a lot. Why did you feel comfortable speaking that way about the organization?
That's just who I am. Like I said before, I can't erase it. Yeah, I'm here. I don't have to talk bad about my old girlfriend to make my new girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Feel good. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. We got a great team, and I think that makes me comfortable knowing that I'm in a great spot. I'm on a great team. I don't have to bash the Broncos or act a certain way here with the Buffalo Bills or act a certain way with the Los Angeles Rams. I love they're all like my children. You love them differently, but you love them all the same. And that's just how it is with me. And for fans that appreciate that, all right, cool. I love it. And for fans that don't appreciate me still loving my old team, then it's football. It's football. This is my life. It is what it is. People gonna love you and people gonna hate you regardless. And I'm just gonna go down with my truth. I love the Denver Broncos. I love the Los Angeles Rams. I love the Buffalo Bills. This is my life, and I'm not gonna try to shade that or hide that at any point in my life.
Have you talked to any of your former teammates, or really anybody in general, about this experience? Because like Peyton at one point had to go play the Colts for the first time, and you've had other teammates who've lived through this. Have you reached out just to, talk through some of this?
Man, year 14, it's I walk through the locker room and my teammates are I got teammates in there that actually call me Unc. They be Unc, that's and I'd be who are they talking to? And they be oh. I'm oh, me. What are you talking? He's talking to me like I'm Uncle Vaughn in the locker room. I'm 13 years older. I'm 13, 14 years older than this guy. Like, jeez, like.
You got gray in your beard too.
I got gray in my beard, bro. Like, with that being said, like, I've been through a lot of situations and I've seen a lot and I've played a lot of football and I played my old team. I played both of my old teams.
Yeah.
You know, and I've lost to both of my old teams. I lost to the Denver Broncos last year and I lost to the Rams this year. It's like, you know, it is what it is. That 60 minutes is just a small portion of my life. Like, I'm so much more than just a football player. I love playing football and this is what I do best, but there are other things that I do well in life too. And of course I want to go out there and win. And of course I want to do everything in my power to bring a championship here to Buffalo, but it's only so much that I can control. And I feel peace in knowing that I can control everything that I can control, I'm controlling. And everything that I can't control, I just let God have that. I let the universe have that. And if it's meant for me, cool. And if it's not meant for me, cool. Either way I go, I'm gonna have a smile on my face, you know. And I feel blessed and fortunate. I feel blessed and fortunate to just be in these situations. So I'm just embracing it.
I feel that. I feel like you on the Bills, I feel like you've found the fountain of youth and been playing really well.
Yeah.
You know, I know all of Broncos country wants to win on Sunday, but if they don't, I think they're all cheering for you to go ahead and get your third Super Bowl ring. Have you thought about that and your ability to get 3 Super Bowl rings with 3 different teams?
Yeah, of course I've thought about that. Of course I thought about that, and it'd be cool. Like, if that's what's for me, then cool. And you know, I'm more to be honest, like, Super Bowls, like, obviously you can say this after you won a Super Bowl. If you've never won a Super Bowl, I wouldn't sit here and be talking to y'all like, man, it's Super Bowls or whatever. Like, but I've actually been there, and I've been there twice, and I played with a lot of Hall of Fame players. And at the end of the day, like, Super Bowls are cool for me. After coming and winning Super Bowl and being on the back end of it, Super Bowls are cool, but like, I want to win those Super Bowls like with my teammates and my colleagues. Like, what do they say about me? Because the media is like going to say whatever they want to say, and they can create a stat. You know, he's had more pressures in the last 2 weeks than anybody, and they can, you know, you can create stats and you have that stat. You can create news. You can create news. You can create news and all that stuff. But I, like, for me, you know, what my teammates, what my colleagues say, the guys that I go against, what the guys say about me that I've been in the locker room with, what they say about me, what they think about me is huge for me. That's up there with, you know, the Super Bowls for me. You know, I go into another locker room. I don't know anybody on this team, but we've crossed paths with some of the colleagues, or they know something about me. They know the basement. They know how I was with one of their rookies. Like, that's what I care about the most, is what, you know, what my character is perceived with all of my colleagues and everybody else in the league. So that's what I care about most. And, you know, I want to win a Super Bowl. If it's for me, cool. And if it's not, cool. But at the end of the day, you know, the guys that I go against, the guys that work with me, their opinions hold weight for me.
And Vaughn, you've talked about how you're a fan of the Broncos. You've watched their primetime games, but you also now have probably watched a lot of Broncos film leading up to this game, and you've watched the Broncos offense. When you watch this Broncos offense, what do you see on film from Bo Nix to Sean Payton to the rest of this group, including your former teammate who you might go up against this week, Garrett Bowles? What do you see from this group?
I said it a long time ago. Like, Garrett Bowles is one of the best right tackles in the league. And I'm one of the best left tackles in the league. And left tackles, they go against good guys and they might get beat, or they might go against, you know, a lesser opponent, they might kill them. Garrett Bowles has consistently been at the top of that list for since I think 2019, 2018. He's been at the top of that list for a very, very long time of best left tackles in the league. So he's the captain. He's the leader of the offensive line. He's the best player in that offensive line. And McGlinchey is right behind him. And then you got Quentin, and he's right behind those guys. And then you got the center and the guard. Those guys are pretty talented as well. And I think they go as this offensive line goes. And Bo Nix, it's weird going against a quarterback like Bo Nix, because you really don't know what he can do. Like, and he can do a lot of things well. He can throw the ball well. He can run. And you really don't know, like, what to really hang your hat on or what to really, like, defend, because, you know, you just don't have a lot of film on him, and he does everything so well. And just the way he plays, like, bro, I know I've said this 4 or 5 times, but I've been in the league a long time, and you could just see the dog in the quarterback just by the way they run and the way they play. You can see if a quarterback is scared out there. You can see if a quarterback is nervous. And Bo, it's never too big for Bo. The team that he's going against is never too good. He's running around. He's diving head first. He's jumping over guys, lowering his shoulder. And that's what our quarterback does. That's what our quarterback does. And that's what inspires us. That's what inspires us to play to a whole nother level. So they got a great quarterback. I think the world of Courtland Sutton. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the league as well. Marvin Mims is, the X factor. He has the speed. He can take the top off any defense. These running backs that we got, of course, they got Javonte. I've loved Javonte for a long time. He was the first running back taken in his draft. He was the best running back taken in that draft, and he's splitting reps. I think, what's the other guy's name?
Jaleel McLaughlin.
He's splitting reps with those guys. But just in my opinion, he's the guy. He's the guy. I've seen it up close and personal. I've seen it. Just in my opinion, obviously the defensive coordinators, whoever it is, going to scout there differently. But in my opinion, this offensive line is the heart and soul of this offense. Bo Nix is the driver, and they got weapons all over. They got support guys all over. Courtland is a star. Javonte is a star. These tight ends are big, strong tight ends that block really well in the run and in the pass. Very, 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 very solid teams. There are no slouches that make the playoffs. And the Denver Broncos, they fought really, really hard to get here, and that means a lot in the playoffs for sure. You got to be tested in the playoffs, and they've definitely been tested.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think about that defensive front, because honestly, ever since you left, the Broncos haven't gotten consistent pressure until this year when they put up 63 sacks, and they finally found a formula with the interior guys, with Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper. I know you probably haven't been watching as much film on those guys, but what do you think of the way they've been able to get to quarterbacks this year?
I watched the defense.
Oh yeah,
I'm still the president of the Patrick Surtain fan club. Like nobody talked about that this whole week. Like, I'm still the president. Go to the website. You see Von Miller, president of the Patrick Surtain fan club.
Well, Vaughn, we tried to steal that from you because we had him on our show every other week last season.
I love Patrick Surtain, so I'm always paying attention to Patrick Surtain. Rush and coverage go together. Yeah. So I always see it from that lens when I'm watching football games. I'm watching the left end, that's the position that I play, and I'm watching the cornerbacks. I spend time with the no-fly zone. I know some stuff about, playing corner and DB in the league. I can't go out there and do it, but I know some because I've seen a lot of great players play. So I watch Pat Surtain. Of course, I watch Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper. I think Zach Allen is really the catalyst that makes all those things go. And he should have made the Pro Bowl, to be honest. He should have made the Pro Bowl. He's so disruptive in the middle. He reminds me, Wolf is his own player. And I watch clips for me to, I know I digress a little bit, but in my meeting room, for me to relay a message on how I want guys to rush around me, it's always clips of me and Wolf rushing. And I probably took away 30 sacks between Wolf. Wolf was so selfless. Nowadays, it's hard to get that. It's hard to have a Shaq and Kobe dynamic. Everybody wants to be Kobe. Everybody wants to be the shooter. Everybody wants to have the sacks and get sacks. Wolf was so selfless. And, the more and more years I played, the more and more years I learned to appreciate it. I've already appreciated that a long time ago, and I give Wolf his flowers all the time. But the more and more years that I play, it shows, man, Wolf was all in for not only the Denver Broncos, but he was all in for Von getting sacks. And, I love Wolf for that. But the catalyst in their pass rush is Zach Allen. And then you match that with not only two amazing rushers, but the guys on the bench they rush as well too. And Franklin Myers is great in the inside too. And it all, the rushing coverage, it goes together. They got one of the best. I almost said we. They got one of the best. They got one of the best secondaries. They almost got one of the best. They got one of the best secondaries in the league. They got one of the best secondaries in the league. And Riley Moss and Patrick Surtain and PJ Locke and they're holding stuff down. And Justin Strnad, he's come off the special teams role, and he's fitting in nicely, at linebacker as well. And they got players all over, and I knew they were going to do that too. They had been working on, getting some ballers in there ever since 2000 and I'll say 20. You started to see the shift, and then when George Payton got there, you started to see what he was trying to build and what was trying to get going. And now it's a complete product, and they have a really good team.
Have you ever considered being a Broncos podcast host? I think you're better at this than we are.
I mean, it's easy to talk about y'all got podcasts and stuff. It's easy to talk about stuff that you really know about and that you live and you research. And I can't even look up my name without it being Denver Broncos or Nick Benito or Jonathan Cooper or Bradley Chubb. So this is they're just in my atmosphere of my life. So it's you can't avoid it. So I just embrace it, and I'm a fan of all of those guys, man. And I'm a fan of the Denver Broncos. I still go back to see my kids in Denver, and I drive by the stadium, and you see the big new scoreboard, and you see stuff that's going on. So you can't. For me, it's harder to not pay attention than to just admire and show love.
Vaughn, we hope you play football for as long as you desire to, but a lot of guys, including this guy sitting with us here, like to make Denver home after their playing career. Is there a chance that when you do decide to hang it up that we'll see you back here in the Mile High City?
Yeah, I'll be back in Denver. My kids live there. I'll be back in Denver for sure. I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. But I'll make my way back to Denver. All the greats do. From Peyton Manning to Champ Bailey to everybody. So if it's good enough for the sheriff, it's good enough for me.
Well, and Vaughn, really quick to play off of that, you were following Brandon Beane around when you started, when you joined the Bills to maybe do a little GM training. Is that maybe in your future? Or I don't want to rush the football career, but have you thought about what life could be like outside of just living in Denver?
Yeah, I thought about it a lot, and Beane and the guys here with the Buffalo Bills have been amazing. Like, especially when I got hurt my first year, I would come up and I would spend the day with them, watching film and, Beane just going over his take on being a GM. And I've been around some great GMs from, John Elway, of course, to, John Lynch and, all of these guys. And it's just, I'll start with this. I can't be no coach. I can't be a coach. Like, I have so much respect for coaches. Early on in your career, I want to do it this way. You're not really getting it. 14 years in, like, these coaches, they're the lifeblood of the team. Like, of course, you got stars and you got the scouts and you got all these people that make the team go, but the coaches are the lifeblood of the team. They have families too, and they spend more hours than anybody up there. And they watch so much film, and all they want is for you to do well. Because if you do well, they do well. They've been watching you since you were in college, and they're telling you, if you could just do this one thing that I'm telling you to do, then you'll be an all-pro player. You'll be so much better. And then what does the player do when he go out there? He
Don't do it.
he don't do it. He don't do it. Or revert back to how you want to play football. And for me, that would be so frustrating for me. I think I have a better eye of just seeing, talent and seeing great coaches and, seeing great strength and conditioning coaches and seeing a great athletic training staff or, cafeteria workers. And it's not a talent that I have. I've just been around. I've had so many great examples that I've been around, from being with the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Rams, to here with the Buffalo Bills. I don't have a special talent of seeing the next this and that, but I know what it looks like when I do see it, because I've been on the Super Bowl teams. I've been around, Peyton Manning. I've been around Patrick Surtain. I've seen the Terrell Dotsons that come in, the special teams guy that come in and they play football. I know what that looks like. I know the type of player that you have to be able to do special teams and then call your name whenever they need you to come in and play defense if somebody gets hurt. So I just have an eye to be able to see that, and that's what I lean on if I ever get a chance to be a GM.
Well, I hope you are a GM, my man. Don't forget I got 3 sons. All 3 of them could be drafted. I got one to play quarterback. they can play together, my boys and your boys. But we appreciate you, man. I think you've taken the time out. I know you got a busy schedule. You're preparing for a big game. We wish you a lot of luck on Sunday. We do want the Broncos to inch ahead just for a little bit,
Yeah.
but we wish you success, man. Much love.
Man, the love is mutual, man. And I know Ty here asked me to come on here first, and I was like, it was right after the game, and I was like, man, I don't know, man, but it would be an injustice to. It's not even about me. It's not even about me or how I feel going into this game. It's about the Bronco fans, and it wouldn't be right for me to pass up this opportunity to speak to the Broncos fans and Broncos Country and let them know that I really love them. And I want to inch ahead just a little bit too. But at the end of the day, it's all love. I got love for Denver Broncos, got love for Broncos Country, and I love and appreciate you guys for having me on, man. I've seen this background with the Joker. I've seen this before, but I didn't know like what it was. But now I know, and if y'all ever need me back, I would love to be on.
Shoot, you can come in studio.
Yeah, exactly. You
Let us
can come
know when
sign our
come
wall.
through.
Yeah.
We love nothing more. And Vaughn, really quick, I just want to speak on Broncos Country and just say the feeling is more than mutual. Broncos Country loves you when you're with the Rams, when you're with the Bills. If you do happen to inch ahead of the Broncos this week, Broncos Country is going to be pulling for number 40 in the Bills for the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's all love, and likewise on my end as well.
There you go, man. And the 40 looks good on you. I never talked to you about that because I know you were going to switch while you're here at the Broncos, but I think it's better.
I was trying, and Flip was going back and forth with me, like, don't do it, don't do the 40. And I'm kind of like, I'm happy that I listened to Flip too, because that 58 is like 58 don't look good on nobody. Like, but 58 it don't look good on nobody. Like, but that 58 and that Broncos jersey, it really looks good. But the 40, it makes me look a little bit younger and slimmer. I like it.
Yeah, I think 58. If you go to a Broncos game, there's still more 58s than any other number.
I've seen it, and not only the home games, but the away games too. I think they were playing the Chargers, and it was all type of 58s all over the place, man. So I see the love, I feel the love. Whenever I have opportunity Denver will be home when it's all said and done. Like, nobody has to worry about any of these conspiracy theories about me. I'm a Broncos. I bleed orange and blue. I'm Broncos Country for life. I end up back in Denver whenever that is, whether that's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But down the road, for sure, I'll be back in Denver. My kids live there, and Denver will be home when it's all said and done.
All right, man. Much love, man. I'll see you in the offseason.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. Love.
Thanks, Vaughn. Right back at you.